won his match and is now in the top 4. Our top 8 match was great. Our top 4 match so far is great. I want to just congratulate all the players for making top 8 on this massive legacy tournament, over 300 players.
Yeah, and you know what, Jacob Wilson, I have to say I'm so impressed with his play today.
Yeah, it's really comical how well he played. You know, I always knew Jacob was a great player. He won a Grand Prix. I knew Jacob before he won a Grand Prix. He would really go to a lot of the Grand Prix, just be a grinder. Every once in a while, make a top 64. Boom, all of a sudden win a Grand Prix. Followed it up with a second place at another Grand Prix. And Grand Prix nowadays, 2,000 players,
yeah,
3,000,
even
4,500,
top 16, top 32, top 64. Even cashing a Grand Prix is so impressive. Top
really
5% of the field.
Yeah. So
Jacob Wilson has a win.
Yeah. So it looks like good news for everyone out there who is a Brian Knopp fan. He's on to the finals with Rug Delver, so he's going to be playing for the trophy for $2,400 and so many Star City Games points that he'll be qualified for a bunch more invitationals.
Yeah.
Maybe
really,
even get a bye, you know? A bye or two at the invitational, forget about it. That's really good.
It's worth a lot, especially if it's in one of your weaker formats, the first format.
Yeah, I never really thought about it like that. So Erik Smith is going up to 6. What would you say, the most part, the players who are at the invitational, is it legacy or standard? What's the weaker format for the players? Legacy probably, right?
Yeah, definitely legacy. I think a lot of
really
pretty
complex.
much everyone's familiar with standard, but legacy, a lot of players skipped the legacy open. A lot of players played the draft challenge when it existed. A lot of players played side events, just went home.
Okay.
Legacy's a weak point.
All right, so there's Jacob Wilson. He's starting off with a Misty Rainforest. He's going to sack that. He's going on 19. He's going to fetch up a Volcanic Island. And let's see if he has a turn 1 Delver Secrets. We know it's not going to be a Nimble Mongoose, otherwise he probably would have got a Trop Island. Oh, it's a Ponder. Okay. So Jacob looks at 1, 2, 3. I see a red card. Can't really make out too much else. There's a Wasteland, Misty Rainforest. Maybe, oh, okay, it might have been 2 Misty Rainforests, just a bunch of lands. And in this matchup, lands is never really a bad thing.
Right, with all the stifles, all the wastelands flying about, you can often bait your opponent into using resources, fighting over lands when you just have a ton of them too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Erik Smith fetches up a Tundra, and maybe he'll have a Ponder of his own, maybe he'll have a Delver, maybe he'll just sit on something like a Stifle or a Daze plus the ability to pay for Jacob's Daze. It is a Ponder. All right, so pretty much the mirror match so far, although of course Erik is playing with white, where Jacob Wilson is playing with red.
Yep, and Ponder sees it looks like Stifle, Fetchland, and some other card, not sure what.
Yep. All right, so yeah, I can't really make it out. Erik's definitely in the tank, looks at the 3 cards, looks at his hand, looks back at the 3 cards, and he'll decide to keep, and it's a Scalding Tarn. So Jacob will draw, I believe, a Wasteland, which it is, and this might be a nice time to waste that Tundra.
Right, while Erik's tapped out.
Perfect.
And yep, there it is.
All right, and there's a Ponder. So Jacob really ahead right now. He was on the play, and that's really big in this matchup, Rug Delver versus Blue-White-Red Delver.
Right, I don't think it's any coincidence that the player on the play has won both of the games so far in the semifinal, and Jacob, as we see here, off to a huge start.
Yeah, to be fair, Erik, he didn't really win a fast-paced game too. It was really, really back and forth, so I don't know how much being on the play, but I could definitely agree where some draws could just be so much better on the play.
Right, he might not have won because he was on the play, but he certainly put himself in the position in the early game to win on the play, put Jacob down to 0 lands on the back of that tempo swing, the play tempo swing.
All right, there's a Scalding Tarn. It gets sacrificed by Erik Smith. He's going to search his deck. Let's see what he's going to go fetch up. Probably another Tundra. And we'll see if he has anything else to follow this up. Jacob Wilson already with 4 cards in his yard, but something that I saw in Erik Smith's hand was the Relic that he boarded in to keep Threshold at bay. Maybe you don't always want to just blow it right away. Maybe you want to do 1 card, 1 card, 1 card. Then when you need the card or you really need to remove all the cards, forget about it. So Jacob will now untap. And he draws a Delver of Secrets. Just the way Jacob really, handles his cards, before he does anything, he thinks about it. Sometimes people, draw their card, they're like, oh, they get excited, it's a Delver.
Like snap play their land,
yeah,
something
exactly.
like that. Yep.
Yeah, but not Jacob. He knows that the rounds in the top 8 and the top 4 in the finals is untimed. You have to play at a reasonable pace, but he's definitely using the time to his advantage. Erik Smith doing the same thing, being very patient, thinking, what can I do? What does Jacob have? what's my path to victory?
Right. The untimed rounds really let you play slower, a little cagier. Maybe, they maybe will make you make some plays for the long game that you might not otherwise make.
Exactly.
And, well, let's see what he's doing about this stifle on the wasteland. Is Jacob going to fight back? Can he fight back? No, just a delver.
All right. So Erik will draw lightning bolt, and it looks like he's going to blow that misty rainforest immediately for a volcanic island. He just wants to get rid of that delver. Do you think he's going to take my line that I suggested where he could pass and get some extra information, or you think, boom, right away?
I think he probably should, but he hasn't yet, so I expect him to just bolt that right away. He seems really afraid of what Jacob Wilson can do in terms of with one mana.
Yeah, I mean, it does open him up to, say, something like a Spell Pierce.
Yeah, Spell Pierce especially.
I think in Game 2 the situation was slightly different. Erik had more than 2 lands. I believe he had 3. So I think it's something that Erik is thinking about, though.
Right, and he has so much removal in his hand that it wouldn't even really be that big of a deal. And wow, yeah, he's doing your play now.
Yeah, let's see. So there's a Daze, and this is perfect now. Now that he has knowledge of Daze before Jacob actually draws the Daze, he's able to go for that bolt.
Yeah, that really is perfect. Daze is the absolute best card Jacob could have flipped there, because now Erik can play around that. And that's a pretty, well, I'm not going to say it's an easy card to play around because it's not, but at least he has knowledge of it.
Yep. All right, and there is a Misty Rainforest. Does Jacob have any follow-up play? I think I see Bolt, Brainstorm, maybe Daze in his hand. Both players not with much real pressure. They're just, if they have something in play, it's getting bolted, it's getting countered.
Right now,
another Wasteland.
Jeez. Jacob Wilson really favored here. He has the Brainstorm. He's going to be able to sculpt his hand, maybe find a nimble Mongoose to put some pressure on, an untargetable Mongoose, but for now he's content to say go and upkeep, again like he's done all match here.
Alright, so he's tapping blue from this volcanic island. There's going to be a Brainstorm and Erik Smith's upkeep.
Oh, this is interesting sequencing here.
It really is.
With the Brainstorm before the Wasteland.
1, 2, 3. I see a Rough and Tumble. I see a Nimble Mongoose, a Daze. Nimble Mongoose is very, very strong in this matchup. You saw how strong it was previously, and not much has changed. The only card that Erik really has against it is yes, the Engineer Explosives, and yes, the Relic, but we saw Jacob build up his graveyard quicker and quicker.
I don't know,
so definitely something really interesting to think about.
Yeah. So, still the upkeep. Jacob Wilson put back 2 cards. Let's see if he cracks the fetch right now. Let's see if he Wastelands right now. What is his play?
I think he wants to Wasteland. I think he wants to go after that Tundra. Erik eventually is going to run out of lands in his deck if the game goes long enough, or Jacob Wilson won't because of Life from the Loam. Unless Erik can set up something with a Relic to kind of combat that Life from the Loam.
Right, it is a really minor consideration, the 1 life from the Loam in terms of long game inevitability, but it is something to think about, because if Jacob ever assembles the combo of Wasteland Loam at a relatively stable board, he's going to win almost on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, the game will go long, but I understand what you're saying there.
Right.
All right, so Erik fetches up a Tundra.
And this is all still in his upkeep, I believe.
Yeah.
So, still in the upkeep step, Misty Rainforest gets cracked for Jacob. He doesn't want Erik drawing the Stifle to stop him from shuffling away the Daze that he put on top there.
Probably going to be a tropical island he'll go fetch up, especially with that Nimble Mongoose in hand.
Right. And now Erik Smith can't wait to draw his card for the turn here. He's been waiting patiently, and here we go.
Ooh, Grim Lavamancer.
Okay.
That's a pretty good draw.
Yeah, kind of some anti-synergy with that Relic, but Erik Smith doesn't have to pop that Relic until he needs to.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Erik just didn't play out the Relic yet. Just, ping 1/1/1, keep Jacob Wilson's graveyard in check, while, have his graveyard be used to do something with the Grim Lavamancer.
Right, okay, so we have a main phase Lightning Bolt from Jacob Wilson here. He needs to get that Lavamancer off the board, and he does.
Alright, there's a Nimble Mongoose.
Yep, Spell Pierce from Erik Smith can't counter that.
And Erik will draw. He's probably looking for something good here. Instead he gets a Volcanic Island. Not the best draw. He just wants to take a look at Jacob's graveyard, see how many cards are there. As he does, he knocks over his library. So
7, 8, 9.
We've all done before, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's about 10 cards in Jacob Wilson's graveyard. So the first ability on Relic, the tap to remove a card, not going to be relevant. I don't think Erik Smith can outpace Jacob Wilson's cantrip.
Sure. I mean, if Erik played that Relic early on in the game and it resolved, maybe it could.
Right.
Relic also is a a non-synergistic card with Erik Smith's Snapcaster Mages, which he has 2 of in his deck. So the Relic hits play, and Erik will pass the turn to Jacob. Jacob draws, immediately attacks for 3. Erik decides to take this and fall down to 13 life. And I don't think Jacob has any other play here. And he just passes the turn. During the end step, Erik will say, you know what, you have to remove 1 card. Not going to be too relevant. Jacob will probably just remove a creature or the lightning bolt. He wants to really remove a card that Erik has something of, so his Goyf could remain as big as possible. So there is some thinking there. He might just not want to remove the first card that comes to mind. All right, Erik just passes the turn. Jacob draws another Brainstorm. Jacob is doing a great job holding on to the Brainstorm, something a lot of players in Legacy doesn't do. But Jacob's the opposite. He'll hold his Brainstorms. He'll only play it when he thinks he really needs to.
Right, and here comes a Brainstorm from Jacob Wilson. This is in response to the correct Relic of Progenitus. He's looking for a Stifle.
Yeah, I think I see a Goyf, and a Rough and Tumble is going back on top of the deck. Erik doesn't have a Geist, so there might not be any use for that Rough and Tumble quite yet. Alright, so that Nimble Mongoose will fall down to just a 1/1. Erik will only drop to 12 life, I believe.
Yep, that looks right. And Erik, he has a lot of tools in his hand, but none of them can really interact with this Nimble Mongoose. And Jared, or rather Jacob, 1 out of 7 for Threshold. So he's pretty far away, but if there's one thing Rug Delver's good at, it's getting Threshold.
Alright. Misty Rainforest is cracked. Erik is doing some math in his head. He does have a Stifle. He's thinking about it here.
It looks like his hand is Engineered Explosives, Lightning Bolt, Stifle, Sword, Spell Pierce.
Yeah. Alright, so an interesting combination of cards. Nothing really stands out like, oh, this card's going to take control of the game, but a lot of various answers.
Yep, and Jacob Wilson has Flusterstorm available, as well as a Daze, a Brainstorm, 2 Dazes, and Brainstorm.
Flusterstorm is kind of an interesting one right here. I guess it might be needed in the matchup, or it's just maybe like a Miser's one of.
Yeah.
So Jacob's trying to cut Erik off of white mana. I think what happened was that Erik thought that Jacob played that Misty Rainforest that turn, which I don't think he did.
Yeah, there is a table judge there at the table, so if any kind of illegal play, accidental illegal play happens, you'll catch it.
Yeah, sometimes so much time has passed during the game, and each turn is just so complex. Players are thinking, we're focusing on what's going to happen, what's the next move, how is Jacob going to try to win the game, how is Erik going to try to combat this Nimble Mongoose. So it looks like there is a Brainstorm from Jacob.
And Erik thinking about this one. He has the Spell Pierce available to him. He's been sandbagging it for a while now. I wonder when he's finally going to pull the trigger, what he's waiting for.
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, who do you think's favored in the match? Is it a clear favorite, or is it just going to be back and forth, back and forth?
It's really hard to tell. Erik Smith's hand is better, but Jacob Wilson, like you said, he has inevitability with the long game. If he can just find that life from the loam, he'll be in good shape. Rough Tumble drawn for Jacob. Knocks Erik to 11. And,
there's a Goyf. All right. So Erik does have Plow in hand, but he has no white source as of now.
Right, the Wasteland took that out. Goyf, only a 2/3, so it may look like a big clock, a Goyf and a Goose, but it's really only, well, now it's a 3/4.
All right, so there's a Ponder, 1, 2, 3. We see a Wasteland. We see another Wasteland. If it's not a white source, I think he has to shuffle. Those Wastelands aren't really going to do that much. I mean, there is some argument where Erik thinks that he might be at a high enough life to take one hit from the Nimble Mongoose and the Goyf, then play an Engineer's Explosives on 2, but instead he's just going to shuffle and just hope they rip the white land right away, which I really don't blame him.
No, he has to do that right now. All the Wastelands in the world don't matter if your life total is 0. Erik knows this. He has to find his swords here.
Yeah.
Or rather, a white source for his swords.
Yeah, just a really great, exciting game, to be honest.
Yeah, and you know, if you're having trouble hearing us turn your sound up, we do have to be a little quiet because this hall is almost empty.
Yeah, just down to about 15 people.
Yeah, we can't have the players being influenced by our talking here.
Yeah, basically it's 15 people in Joe Larson's hair, so about 15 and a half.
Yep.
All right, so there is 4 damage. Erik drops down to 7. He draws a Misty Rainforest.
There it is.
He does have another relic. He has a plow. He has a bolt. There's a relic. I see a daze. I see a flusterstorm in Jacob's hand.
Yep. Now, it's important to note that Erik doesn't have to use the sacrifice ability of relic. He can target himself to remove that ponder if he wants to, shrink that Tarmogoyf to 2/3.
Yeah, he can shrink it to a 2/3, and then he could bolt the Tarmogoyf.
Right.
So, since there's already an instant in the graveyard, it won't get any bigger.
Yep. So, upkeep, is he going to do anything? No.
No, it doesn't do anything on the upkeep. Ooh, Jacob Wilson drew another lightning bolt.
That's pretty good.
That's danger for Erik. Erik might be facing lethal right here, and he might not even know it.
Yeah, Jacob doesn't have 2 greens, or rather 2 red sources.
Yeah.
So, okay.
All right, so he blows the relic.
Yep.
Erik will draw a card. Now, pre-combat, do you think Jacob's going to try to bolt Erik? Yeah, that's exactly what he does. So instead of that bolt doing only 3 damage, essentially that bolt is doing 4.
Right. 1 from the Tarmogoyf, 3 from the bolt.
Yeah. And Erik's thinking, hey, can I really go down to 2 life here? He probably can't. I mean, I think he might just have to sack that Misty and hope Jacob doesn't have anything.
Right.
And go for a plow.
Erik definitely can't play around Stifle right now. The question is, can he play around Daze? I think is the question.
All right.
So Erik drops to 2.
Yeah, he should be at 2 life right now. And Erik draws for his turn. Yeah, these fetch lands aren't going to help him too much now.
No, his only real line is to bolt the Goyf and hope his engineered resolves.
Yeah.
Well, hope he draws a dual land or a wasteland and that his engineered resolves.
What is this? There's a Flusterstorm.
Oh wow! And Erik has Spell Pierce, but the Flusterstorm has Storm, meaning that that won't work.
Well, the whole thing is that Erik needs to play the Engineer's Explosive this turn on 1 to take care of the Nimble Mongoose.
Right.
I think early in the game what happened was that Erik was on, I believe, 13 life, maybe 16, and then fell to 13. And there's a chance that Erik may have just blown the relic just to save some damage early. You know, when you think, oh, I'm at 13, I'm at 16, why do I need to save some damage? Well, it will come back to really get you sometimes. There's Flusterstorm on the screen, 1 blue mana instant, counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1, and of course, it has Storm. Yeah, I believe it was out of one of the commander decks. Yep.
So, Jacob Wilson on the verge of moving to the finals here. Erik Smith, he's out of options. He can Swords the Goyf. He can force one of the Flusterstorms.
But again, he's at 2
yeah,
life.
it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, Erik Smith would need something right here like a Lightning Helix, which doesn't see play, but it is a powerful card because of this reason. Just 1 more mana. All right, and that's it. He said good game.
Wow.
And, you know, Erik can't be too disappointed. Making top 4 and open is definitely strong. Erik's going to walk away with $600. He's going to walk away with many, many SCG points. And, of course, he's going to walk away with some great memories here.
Yeah, really cool. His first top 8, he got as far as the top 4. Congratulations to him. But, you know, more importantly, congratulations to Jacob Wilson. He joins Brian Knopp
in the finals. This is going to be a